Even sunlight felt heavy. That's the thought I had this morning as I lay in bed, staring at the closed blinds. The alarm had gone off twice already, the third snooze humming faintly in the background. But I couldn't bring myself to move. The room was still wrapped in darkness, and I was wrapped in it too. I knew the day was waiting. Clients expecting updates, emails piling up, meetings on my calendar. But none of that pulled me forward. Instead, dread pressed down on me like another blanket, heavier than the one already tucked around me. I lifted my arm toward the blinds once, then let it fall back onto the sheets. It felt like too much effort, as though tugging that cord, letting the light spill into the room, would also demand that I be ready, sharp, flawless. I wasn't ready. I wasn't sharp. I wasn't flawless. I was just tired. It's strange how even small actions can feel impossible when dread has already taken hold. The blinds were just fabric and string, but they might as well have been made of iron. The room was quiet, except for the muffled sounds of traffic outside. But all I could hear was the voice in my head whispering, "Today will defeat me." I know that voice too well. It shows up before the day even begins, telling me I'm already behind, already unprepared, already outmatched by what's waiting. And when I believe it, I stay under the covers longer. I scroll aimlessly on my phone. I push the start of the day further and further back until dread feels like my only companion. The blinds stayed closed. The darkness clung to the room, and I stayed still, trapped in that heavy silence. If you've ever felt mornings like this, you know how convincing that heaviness can be. It doesn't matter how much you accomplished yesterday. It doesn't matter what plans you've carefully made. When dread arrives, before the light does, it convinces you that the whole day is already lost. That was my stillness this morning. Blinds drawn, darkness pressing close, even sunlight feeling heavy. I thought dread could define my day. That's the belief that held me under the covers. The idea that because I woke up heavy, the whole day was doomed. That one sluggish start meant I was already defeated. It's not just about mornings, though. It's about everything that mornings represent. For me, the start of the day feels like a test of whether I'm disciplined enough, sharp enough, driven enough to get up and get moving without hesitation. And too often, I fail that test. I see it everywhere around me. Colleagues who wake early, fit in a gym session, grab their coffee, and stride into the office before I've even opened my laptop. Friends who post sunrise photos, yoga mats rolled out, journals filled before breakfast. And then there's me, lying in bed with blinds closed, scrolling my phone, convincing myself I've already ruined the day. It's not just a comparison, though. It's also pressure. In real estate, mornings matter. The early calls, the quick responses, the momentum that sets the tone for the whole day. I know the industry rewards those who hit the ground running. And so, when I don't, I hear the critic. You're falling behind. You're not cut out for this. You'll never keep up. That belief carries echoes from home, too. Growing up, my father was the kind of man who rose before dawn. He believed mornings defined discipline. He'd say things like, "How you start the day shows who you are." I internalized that, maybe too deeply. So now, Every slow morning feels like proof that I'm failing, not just professionally, but personally. And the more I believe that, the heavier mornings become. The more dread fills the space before I even step into it. But here's what I'm starting to realize. Dread doesn't have to define the day. It feels like it does, but it doesn't. Because mornings aren't only about speed, or discipline, or flawless starts. They can also be about gentleness. They can begin softly, slowly, imperfectly, and still matter. When I thought dread defined my day, I missed the truth that mornings can be reclaimed, even if they start in darkness, even if the blinds stay closed a little longer, even if I stumble out of bed later than planned. The day doesn't belong to dread unless I hand it over. If you've ever felt this too, if you've woken with heaviness and assumed it meant the whole day was lost, then you know the weight of that lie. And you also know how much relief there is in realizing it's not the only truth. Because mornings can start softer, and softer beginnings still count. But mornings can start softer. That realization came slowly, almost like the light itself seeping through the blinds. I had been lying there, convincing myself that dread had already stolen the day, when another thought arrived, gentler, quieter. What if I didn't have to force a perfect start? What if mornings could begin softly, instead of sharply? It struck me because for so long, I've believed the opposite. I've believed that the only way to win the day was to rise quickly, push hard, tick boxes before anyone else, prove my discipline before the world had even opened its eyes. Anything less felt like failure. But lying there in the half-dark, I began to see it differently. Maybe mornings don't need to be flawless to matter. Maybe they don't need to look like sunrise jogs, or cold showers, or motivational speeches. Maybe they just need a gentle beginning. I thought about other moments in life where I had assumed soft meant weak, only to find out it was strength in disguise. The time I comforted a client who was panicking about losing their home. I didn't have the sharpest answers, but my calm presence helped them breathe. The evening I admitted to a friend that I was tired and overwhelmed. It didn't ruin the friendship, it deepened it. Maybe mornings are like that too. Maybe gentleness is not laziness, but a form of strength. I pictured myself opening the blinds, not as a dramatic declaration that I was ready to conquer the world, but simply as a quiet invitation for the day to meet me where I was. That image shifted everything. The blinds weren't a test anymore. They were just fabric. The sunlight wasn't a judgment anymore. It was just light. And in that moment, I felt something soften inside me. The voice of dread didn't disappear completely, but it no longer had the only word. A new voice emerged, saying, "I can begin, gently." That's the reframe I'm holding now. Not, "I must rise flawlessly or fail," but, "I can begin gently, and that is still enough." Because beginnings don't have to be perfect. They just have to begin. Gentle beginnings still count. That's the practice I leaned into this morning, and it's the one I want to keep carrying forward. Here's what I did. Step by step, I stayed lying under the covers, but instead of letting dread swirl louder, I placed one hand on my chest. I layered affirmations quietly in my mind, one after another, like soft blankets. This morning can be gentle. I don't have to rush. I can start small. Gentle beginnings still count. Each line was like loosening a knot. My breathing, which had been shallow and tight, began to deepen. I tried a simple rhythm. In for 4 counts, out for 6. The longer exhale made space. It told my body, you're not in danger. You're safe to begin slowly. And then I visualized the blinds. Instead of seeing them as heavy, as proof of my reluctance, I pictured them as a closed spirit. Not broken, just waiting to open. With each breath, I imagined the blinds parting a little more. Light spilling through inch by inch. When I finally did reach for the cord, I didn't demand a dramatic gesture. I just pulled gently. The blind shifted, and light spilled across my face. It was softer than I expected, not harsh at all. And in that softness, I realized something profound. Even a small movement is still movement. Even a gentle start is still a start. That's how the practice works. Affirmation layering to remind myself I don't need perfection to begin. Breath work to regulate the body out of dread and into calm. Visualization to turn closed blinds into a symbol of a spirit ready to open. By the time I stood up and walked to the kitchen, I felt lighter, not because dread had vanished, but because I hadn't let it define the day. I had chosen a gentler truth. Beginnings don't need to be flawless. They just need to be lived. So this week, whenever I feel that heavy resistance in the morning, I'll return to this practice. I'll remind myself, gentle beginnings still count, and I'll let the day unfold from there. When I look back on this morning, I can still feel the heaviness that clung to me as I lay under the covers. It felt like proof of failure, like a weight that meant the whole day was already gone before it began. But now, sitting here in the evening, I see it differently. This morning taught me that beginnings don't have to be loud or flawless to matter. They can be gentle, they can be soft, they can come later than planned, slower than expected, and still open into something meaningful. I used to think that if I didn't start the day perfectly, I had already ruined it. That belief kept me trapped in dread, folding the hours back on themselves until I had wasted more time trying to avoid failure than it would have taken to just begin. But this morning gave me another way. It showed me that even when dread whispers, I can answer with gentleness. I can tell myself, today doesn't have to defeat me. I can begin gently. That shift changes everything. At work, it means I don't spiral when I arrive later than colleagues or when I don't hit the ground running. I can start with one small task, one call, one reply, and let momentum build. At home, it means I release the guilt of mornings that don't look like my father's discipline or my friends' Instagram routines. I can find my own rhythm, one that allows softness instead of shame. And inside myself, it means I can carry less dread, because if mornings can begin gently, then every day holds another chance to reset. I don't have to define the whole day by its first 5 minutes. I can allow myself to breathe, to soften, to step forward when I'm ready. So tonight, as I reflect, I see how powerful this small shift really is. It isn't just about mornings. It's about the way I treat myself in every beginning, every new project, every new relationship, Every new challenge, each one can start softly, without the weight of perfection, and softness still carries strength. That's the lesson I want to hold on to. Dread doesn't define my day. Gentleness does. I can begin gently. I picture the moment the blinds finally shifted, the sunlight spilling across my face. Not harsh, not demanding, just light, arriving in its own rhythm. That's the image I'm carrying with me, the reminder that beginnings don't have to be flawless to matter. As I end tonight, I hold on to that vision. A room once heavy with darkness, now softened by light. A spirit once trapped beneath the weight of its own hesitation, now standing, moving, beginning again. The world outside can stay loud for a while longer. Peace doesn't need its permission. Here and now, in this calm, I've already started again. Slower, lighter, enough. And maybe that's all the proof I need, that even the quietest rise still counts.